been a busy day today for investigations. Our last subject is going to be catching infidelity in a relationship. This is Dave again at AFX Search, licensed investigators in Palm Beach, Florida. So why is it that you or a person in a relationship wants to catch infidelity? Usually it's not to actually find out if a person is being unfaithful. Usually that's kind of already known, at least suspected. It's almost in every case not to be used in court, because in most cases you don't need to prove infidelity to get divorced, or especially to break up with somebody. It's probably not to document that it's happening, and we'll get to the reason why in a minute, why it's likely that most people want to catch infidelity. But here's how it's done. The first thing you do is you look for certain actions. Every instance of infidelity is going to require one or more of these following things: contact with the other party, meeting the other party, some interest and desire that's different from the relationship, and expenses. So contact, how do you find that out? Well, normally that's done by phone. It can be done on a cell phone. If a relationship partner is very suspicious and looking at phones, the party that's being unfaithful might get a second phone. It might be a prepaid cell phone. It might be a cell phone not on the same account. They might be using their work phone. They might be hiding a phone somewhere. Sometimes they may be using a landline phone at their house that's not visible, or that's not being used when the other party is there. If it's a work line, that's easy to do while they're at work, as long as they have some privacy. It may be Skype or some other VoIP type system. There's a million ways to do contact. For every one of those ways, there's 3 or 4 ways for each one for an investigator to discover it and catch it. Very easy to do. I don't care if it's a prepaid cell phone or some hidden phone. We can find out those communications and find out who the person is and how frequent that contact happens. What about meeting the person? Every relationship that is at that point of severity goes beyond just contact, and usually there's face-to-face or in-person meetings. The thing to look for there is, where are the time slices that can happen? Most of the 24 hours of a day, the suspected cheater is not going to be available to do that. They're going to be at home with the primary relationship partner or spouse. They're going to be sleeping. They're going to be eating. They're going to be visible to the relationship partner that's the client. What about when they're at work? Well, most of the time they're at work, they're going to have to be working, right? Most of the time. But there's going to be these little time slices that are unaccounted for. Those are really the only ones that you need to look at. Those are the ones where time needs to be accounted for. And at first, it's probably not necessary to observe or surveil the person during those times. It's just identify when those are, and then you can go back later and see if the stories add up for that. And that's an investigative method that is put in place by a professional. The other thing is, look at all of those time slices together and see if there's any patterns, and who else might be available during those patterns. So what's the third part? Interest and desire. That creates errors. When a person has strong interests or strong desires outside of their normal relationship, it creates a distraction, a confusion that causes errors. It might be forgetting things, it might be misstating things, it might be just not being as focused, it might even create work problems or other things. That's something that's easy to observe when you're in one relationship and been with one person. It might not be that easy. When we've seen dozens and hundreds of people who have been unfaithful or been, doing something inappropriate in a relationship, we see the same thing every time. It's like, it stands out like a sore thumb. It's like a light bulb in the middle of a dark forest. We can see that a mile away, those activities that are creating interest and desires outside the relationship. And the last thing is expenses. Money is math. You can't hide movement of money. So if that person is spending money on this relationship, whether it's on travel or dinner or entertainment, that's usually easy to discover. Sometimes the money is for other things. It may be for money to buy themselves clothing or a cell phone or something else to enable this activity. That expense and that transactional history has to show up somewhere. Obviously that person's not going to put it on the family credit card. There may be other credit cards. There may be prepaid debit cards. Well, to get that prepaid debit card, somebody's got to pay cash. That cash has to come from somewhere. If there are withdrawals, we'll look at that. We may observe ATM withdrawals that shouldn't be happening. We may observe that the person's getting some of their payments in another format. Instead of getting paid their commission check from work, they're getting some of it on a separate check that they can cash separately. They may be getting expense checks that they're converting to cash to use to fund this relationship. So the bottom line is, All these four key identifier points: contact, meeting, interest, desire, and expenses. Each one of them has a method to discover it, and it documents the relationship. Now, when you think about it, what is the reason for wanting to discover this? For most cases, and this is probably true for you as well if you're considering this, it's to have some tangible, durable record of this activity. You probably already know the cheating is happening. You probably already know that it's a bad deal. You just want to have something that you can refer back to so you don't have to pretend it's not real. 99% of the time, you're not seeing an activity that is cheating. You can pretend that this isn't happening. Those times when the person's not around, when they're sneaking around on the phone, when they disappear for a certain period of time, that's when you have your suspicions. But all that goes away 2 hours later when the person's back around, they're being attentive and they're being good to you, and you can pretend that that bad thing is not real. You want to have something that's durable, that's in your hands, that just reminds you over and over that it is real, and you can't pretend anymore, and that will enable you and empower you to take whatever action it is. The action doesn't have to be that bad, but at that point you're in control of it because you know that it's real, and that sense of urgency to make something happen doesn't fade and get diluted during that mass amount of time, the majority of time, when that inappropriate activity is not happening and it's not actually real because you're not going back in time and remembering it. You want to have something in your hand. That's what an investigator will do. It'll get you that permanent, tangible thing, a report, video, audio, whatever it is, that proves that it's real, that you can refer back to when you need that tangible reminder that it's real, so it doesn't fade away and you can take action on your terms, the way you want to do it with that other person, whatever that is, whether it's ending a relationship, whether it's counseling, whether it's changing things, whatever it is. Then it's up to you and it's on your terms, but you'll have the confidence to be able to do it without fading back and backsliding into that it ain't real scenario.